Hey guys, thank you for clicking on this video. Today we will be covering Boolean and if and else statements, which are also really fundamental of Python. In the link below, I've put down some exercises for this video. So after you've watched the entire video, make sure you get your hands-on practice because this is where you learn the most. There will be a small game called Rock, Paper, Scissors, and you are actually going to build your first program. So you're actually going to start learning how to implement this code inside of a real game. So this is a good first exercise for you guys. Make sure you also do the exercise in the link below. Those will help a lot. And let's go over to our desktop. Okay, so last time we discussed the data types and the variables and how we can use them. I also gave a few exercises you could do. I hope you guys did it. At least try some way you can do the practical exercises. It should not be this exercise. If you can find some good exercise online, that is good too. But make sure you keep practicing, because I had made this mistake in the beginning as well. I watched too many videos without any practice, and the only practice you can, or the only thing you are going to really learn this stuff is just by doing. So you build up this muscle memory for the code, and you just, next time you see the same mistake, you know what to do and you remember what you did wrong. So for today, we will start discussing Boolean statements and if and else. So what is a Boolean statement? So essentially, a Boolean statement is something which is true or false. So we give a statement and this can always result into true or false. So it is true or false. So we have a few different types of operations. One of them is the greater than sign. So if we try out, for example, is 5 greater than 3? And that says true because 5 is greater than 3. Now let's switch it up to see if it's still true. Is 3 greater than 5? No, this is false. Okay, so that's the base idea of Boolean statements. So you give a statement, it will return true or false. So we now know we have a greater than sign. So you expect also a less than. So this will do the exact opposite. So it will say less than instead of greater than. We have something called greater than and equal to. And this might need some explanation. So if we say 5 is greater than 5, it will still return false. But if we say 5 is greater than or equal to 5, it will now result into true. So this is statement is basically a check if it's also the same amount instead of only bigger than. So as you expect, you also have a less than or equal to. And something else is the equal to sign. So if we're going to test out is 5 equal to 5, it will result into true. If we say is 5 equal to 6, now it is false. And we also have a not equal to sign, which is not equal to. So we can test it out. So if we say is 5 not equal to 6, it's going to say true because 5 is not equal to 6. So this is something we can use inside of a statement. And we can also use this inside of an if and else statement. So now it gets interesting. So now we are also going over the practical use cases of this. So let's say we have a variable x, which is 5. And we want to see if this value is greater than 4. So we're going to say if x is greater than 4, print x is greater than 4. We can run this and we can see indeed it prints out x is greater than 4. But what happens if we say, if we give x another value, so x is not greater than 4, it will print nothing because it will not go into the statement. So in the if statement, it checks if this Boolean logic is true. If it is not true, it will not execute this piece of code which is within the if statement. And note that within the if statement, I use the tab over here. So if you press the tab button or 4 space bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you can print out all your code here. So you can run other code as well. So every code you write in here within the 4 tabs is going to be inside of the if statement. If you want to say if it's not true, so if we want to check if the if statement is false, we can also put down an else statement. And with the else statement, we can say x is not greater than 4. And if we run this, we can see indeed it goes to the else statement because this first statement is not true. So this is the principle of the if and else within Python. And you will see this also in other programming languages. Every programming language I know of has this if and else statement because it's a bare fundamental of every programming language to have the basic logic of a programming language. Okay, so now let's give another use case. So we have a variable called y, which is equal to 6. And now we want to check if the value of y is between 4 and 10. So we are going to say if y is bigger than 4 and y is smaller than 10, print y is in between 4 and 10. And we can see indeed 6 is in between 4 and 10. And you can see here we have an operational statement, the AND statement, and we have more operational statements, which are AND, or, and not. So these are the base statements you should know of. And the AND statement, what it will do, so let's get another cell down here. If we say 5 equals 5 and 4 equals 4. Now it will say true because one of those values or both values are true. If one of those values is false, so let's say 4 does not equal 4, this of course is false. Now this statement also will be false because one of those two is false, so the statement will be false. So that's what the AND statement does. So it doesn't matter, we can even put one behind this one, which is correct. So 6 equals to 6. And this will still be false. So if one of the statements is false, the entire statement is false. So bear that in mind with the AND statement. If one of those values is false, everything will be false. With the OR statement, it is slightly different. So let's change these ANDs to OR statements. Let's do this one first without this. And as you can see, this is true. So if with the OR statement is basically the opposite. So if one statement is true, the whole statement is true. So we can give something else which is false. So 3 does not equal 3. And it still says true. So if one of the statements is true, the entire statement is true. And with the not, it basically turns it around. So let's say, so the not statement is really easy. So let's say we have 5 equals 5. Now it says true. If we say not 5 equals 5, it changes to false. So it makes it the opposite way. And if we make this a false, it will say it's true. So it changes true to false and false to true. So now once we have this, what we can do is basically make statements to make computer programs. I also, in the homework exercises, made a game called Rock, Paper, Scissors. You guys, with this if and else statements, are already able to complete this game of Rock, Paper, Scissors. If you cannot solve it, so this is a bonus exercise. There are more exercises. you cannot solve this, try look it up on the internet or at the solutions notebook. I also made a dedicated solutions notebook for the exercises. Try to make those because you will learn a lot from it. And one last example before the end of the video I want to give is if you want to check if numbers are even. So let's say we have a number called x, which is 4, and we want to check if this number is even or not. So we're going to say if x modulo 2 equals to 0, print this is an even number. And what the modulo operator basically does is, I will also put a link inside the video for the modulo operator because it takes quite some time to explain this properly. But what the modulo operator does, it's basically taking the division of it. So let's say we have 8 modulo 2. So it's taking the division by it, and it's going to check which the result will be. So 2 fits 4 times inside of 8, but doesn't have something else left. So 0 will be left at this point. So the result of this one will be 0. If we have 8 modulo 3, so let's say 3 times 2 is 6. So that's the bare minimum below 8. And then we have 8 minus 6, which is 2. So the result of this code will be 2. So I will show you guys how you can also download the exercises so you can start working on it and you can update your working directory where you are working in. So at first, you go to the GitHub repository again. You can click code and download zip. Now this zip file will be installed. You open it. And as you can see, we have Python fundamentals, and we see Boolean if else is the new folder. So what we can do is open our file location, Python fundamental course, and here you can see I already have it, Boolean if and else. What you would do is you would drag it over here, and now you can start working on your exercise if you open your Jupyter notebook again. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.